Compared to other S-rankers, Yirim is still young and inexperienced, yet at the same time, she is growing stronger at a fast rate. She is not the type of person who will sit back and stay still, so Yoojin opted to support her as much as he can. He looks at Water Droplet and asks her to lend a skill of hers to Yirim. The other replies that it is too much, explaining that accepting it also means she must pay for it. Yoojin ignores Water Droplet's words and instead tells Yirim to greet the original owner of her earrings. Our MC won't easily take no for an answer. Yirim quickly complies and bows before Water Droplet. With a bright face, she thanks the Mermaid Queen of the deep blue seas. Yirim then asks if she truly is the owner of the earrings. She adds how she's getting the hang of using them and how these are the best. Water Droplet doesn't know how to react in such a display of exuberance, so she simply answers Yirim's question. Water Droplet admits how she used to use it back when she was younger. Yirim is happy that the other responds to her, so she continues throwing compliments and asks if this is considered a royal item. At that, Water Droplet makes her decision, and a bright light appears. She bestows a gift and says that they should just call it fate. An orb of swirling water appears before Yirim. She looked at it closely, and the water disappeared, revealing a crystal blue pendant. This item is the Ruler of Water, a legendary rank one-time use item that contains a concentrated power of the world's waters. In the novel, it was mentioned that it is of myth rank. Yirim's eyes bulge out upon seeing the rank of the item. Yoojin thanks Water Droplet for the gift, but Water Droplet clarifies that he shouldn't express gratitude. Instead of a reward, what she gives is a form of negotiation, so that she'll feel a little less guilty for honey. Yoojin looks at the avatar of the Water Droplet, thinking of what she's feeling guilty for. But his train of thought changes when he focuses on the word a little. For him, this only means that he can get more for what's remaining of that guilt. Ovo, that's quite ingenious. Great job in spotting that, MC. Yoojin then looks at Water Droplet with apparent greed on his face, making the others tell him to stop doing that. She reminds them that she can't give them this skill and that it can only be used once. Though this is the case, if the item is used wisely, it will significantly help them. She adds that this also rests on the child's ability and effort. Yoojin takes advantage of this and starts negotiating to make it a 10-time use item. Lol, our MC won't give up. Water Droplet doesn't reply and merely stares back at Yoojin. At the same time, Yirim brings up the pendant to her spear, thinking that it somehow fits in the slot. Aligning the pendant, it fits right in, and a rush of water suddenly emerges from where she stands. Yoojin looks with surprise while Yirim flies off, breaking the barrier protecting them. Yirim panics, but she doesn't understand what's happening, and asks what she's even doing now. She shouts for help, making Yoojin shout out for her. Yoojin instructs Yirim to feel the mana flow, to learn the Mermaid Queen's skill, and to apply it to her own skills. Yirim continues being flown off by the water released by her spear and shouts back that her skills are ice type, not water. Yoojin yells that the type doesn't matter. Instead, she should concentrate her power on her hand. He adds that with those attributes, she can combine the skills. He's about to tell more, but water gets splashed right at him as water starts filling the barrier from the hole Yirim blasted earlier. Yirim shouts that she doesn't know how to do what Yoojin just told her. It's them. Stickman for the win. Yirim continues to get dragged around by the water pressure, with the enemy only looking at her. It was out of control to the point that Yirim got blasted right in her face by the water. Newbie looks at Yoojin and says the skill class might be too high, but Yoojin refuses to let this opportunity pass them by. He thinks that Yirim should be shown how it's done. This gives Yoojin an idea as he looks at their enemy, who is busy watching Yirim flail around. Yoojin concludes that Yirim and the enemy are using the same power. He activates his Stern Mother Hendril Surgeon skill and applies it to Yirim and the enemy Mermaid Queen. He plans to send the sensations of the fake Mermaid Queen to Yirim, but the enemy obviously rejects the skill. Due to the failed attempt, Yoojin felt like he was being pulled into the vast, deep water, and his body felt like it was starting to disintegrate and become bubbles. He does his utmost to reject the sensation. Yoojin calls for him, snapping him right out of it. Yoojin coughs water out as if he just survived drowning. Despite his situation, he quickly pulls himself together and reassures his brother that he's okay. Yoojin doesn't believe him for 1 second and asks him what he did. Yoojin doesn't answer and thinks fast about what he can do. He suddenly holds Yeonjae's hand, calling him Mr. Guide. Oh, the roleplay is back. Yoojin asks for Yeonjae's skill as he uses the Stern Mother Hendril Surgeon skill on him. Yeonjae doesn't reject it, but he comments about how Yoojin looks like he'll faint if he does reject it. Yoojin grins up at him, saying he should act like that when they're obviously close. He repeats Yeonjae's words from before, saying they're friends, and as friends, they should help each other. Yeonjae says he has never made friends in his entire life, making Yoojin comment on his complicated life. Yoojin can't directly send the sensations from the fake mermaid queen to Yerim, so he intends to use the next best thing. He connects Yerim to Yeonjae using his Stern Mother Hendril Surgeon's skill to send the enemy's movements and sensations using Yeonjae's battle foresight. Our MC is amazing at coming up with various combinations. I bet he plays card games well. Yerim receives the sensations, which confuse her at first. Looking at the fake mermaid queen, she starts seeing how it will move in every step. The fake mermaid queen summons water from her spear and swipes it at Yerim, who gets submerged in water by the attack. Yoojin shouts for her in worry, but Yerim then assures them she's okay. Water flows as Yerim raises a hand. The water swirls into her hand, getting bigger. Yerim announces that she understands it now, and compares it to how weapons can be made into instruments that create music, like how a piano piece can be played with a violin. The sensations she gained are now applied as if they were hers from the start. Whoa, this is similar to how Yoojin was when he fought Diarma. Even if Yerim is attacked by the fake mermaid queen, she can survive unscathed. It is almost identical that she now finds it easy to manipulate. With the way she moves, there is no doubt that Yerim can now control the water. She rises above the fake mermaid queen and confidently takes full command of the water. As its ruler, she is able to stand on water, take steps, and even have time to enjoy the moment. She doesn't hesitate this time as she flies off to attack the enormous enemy before her. She is reassured that she can do it with them. Summoning her own swirl of water, she attacks the fake mermaid queen. She does the same attack, intending to make the enemy experience the same demise that she and her companions have felt from her. Yerim yells as she swings her trident down to command the water. The fake mermaid queen is surprised as it gets blasted by the attack. The enemy then pixelizes as it gets engulfed by the water. The space around them breaks like glass and falls along with the water. Yerim stares at the breaking space and turns around with glee for having defeated the enemy, but her delight turns grim when she sees Yoojin lying unconscious on his back. Oh, our princess needs another saving. Like before, Yoojin is in an out-of-body experience as he submerges in the deep water. He feels heavy as he wonders what happened to the fake mermaid queen. He sees a flash of light, making him think that the gate is finally open, meaning Yerim managed to defeat the boss. The problem is that Yoojin feels like he's drowning again, and it's stronger this time. Yerim shouts for him to wake up, which somehow helps him regain consciousness. Yerim asks why he did such a thing, but Yoojin seems out of it and doesn't answer her. Instead, he says that they should thank Water Droplet for her help. Newbie comes close and tells him that Water Droplet is now in a deep sleep in exchange for the skill she shared with them. Yoojin expresses his understanding, but Yerim is not done with him. She questions whether he knows that using the skill will make him extremely weak. Yoojin shivers as he tries to answer. He wonders if his fear-resistant skill is not working because Yerim just used an L-rank skill. He is well aware that it is Yerim who's before him. Still, the sensation he feels is similar to having a giant wave before him. Yoojin feels like he's about to get devoured by Yerim. MC is probably correct. His skills might really only work if the other's skill is lower than his. Yoojin continues to shake as he tells her that he did it for her to get a complete understanding of the skill. Yerim doesn't appreciate it and shouts at Yoojin. The shouting doesn't help, and Yoojin feels like a shrimp who got blasted by water, and he can't help but be overwhelmed by it. Yoojin crawls to his brother and asks him to stop her. Yuvan looks away, saying he's on Yerim's side. Yoojin then lifts a hand towards his good friend Yeonjae, but the Sejeon Guildmaster only does the same. Finding no ally among them, Yoojin makes a run for it, claiming that the gate is open. He tells them that they should leave, but Yerim doesn't let him and simply blasts water. Stickman Yoojin drifts back to where Yerim and the others are. Yerim says he can avoid the question by running away. Yoojin simply compliments her for being a fast learner. Yerim grabs Yoojin by the collar while Yoojin tries to calm her down as tears pour down his pale face. Yerim shouts that she can't calm down and points out his shivering form. She asks him again why he did it despite knowing the repercussions of the skill on him. Yerim lifts him up by the collar while the other two only watch. She knows that Yoojin is aware of the skill's side effect on him since he only didn't know about it when they fought Babar. Yerim then complains that there are other methods that they can try. Yoojin tries to rebut, but Yerim says they might as well die. Yoojin tries to speak, But Yirim doesn't let him. She tells him that she won't be grateful for putting himself in danger just so she can fight better. Her anger is replaced with tears as she reveals that she's also afraid to lose him. Yoojin looks at her with surprise as Yirim tells him to promise not to do it again. Yirim shakes as she imagines how she could have lost him. Please value your life more. MC. Stop acting like that certain white-coated guy from another manhwa. Yoojin finally understands Yirim. He recalls that Yirim has already lost her parents and apologizes to her. He thinks about how he has also lost a lot of people around him. And this is why he wants her to become stronger and gain the ability to protect herself. Yoojin knows that he can't promise Yirim not to do it again. So, instead of promising, he heartfully apologizes to her, making it a touching scene. But Yoojin destroys it when he adds that Yirim should practice this skill while it's still active. This makes Yirim furious, and the water gets blasted again. Unknown to them, they're still being watched by jellyfish. She didn't expect to see the Mermaid Queen. She wonders how much they got involved with the depraved to the point that they are aware of her true form. She deems this to be useful information and promises to see them soon. Jellyfish finally disappears, while Yirim has Yoojin on the end of her trident. Yoojin hesitates if this is too much for his brother, while Yeonjae maintains his happy appearance. After a while, the four of them safely got out of the gate. The lake that formed disappears along with the gate. Aside from that, the detention center is also gone. Taewon has no choice but to work overtime because of this. Despite what happened, the silver lining is that they can cover up for what Yoojin did. As to what happened inside the gate, the brothers opted to tell Yirim and Yeonjae that the volleyball and the water droplet they met were system managers. Yirim was excited to be in the know, while Yeonjae only smiled with understanding. This made Yoojin wonder if they genuinely understood. Among those two, I'm sure the Siseon Guildmaster better understands what's truly happening back there. Yoojin then asks Yirim about her water skills. He reminds her not to forget it and to review what occurred in the dungeon. Yirim readily agrees, saying she'll go through everything so she won't forget. As Yirim says this, she recalls some of the things she said before. She remembers how she even mentioned that her guildmaster is handsome. She blushes, and to cover up her embarrassment, she calls Yoojin ugly and attacks him. Yoojin is fast to deflect the water attack with his black flames, confused as to why Yirim is suddenly insulting him. Yoojin watches over with a smile on his face, happy that Yirim is now used to using water skills. From his side, a towel is offered to him, telling him to wipe himself. It is the smiling Yeonjae who asks Yoojin to give him another half star, and are still not yet done with their role-playing. Yoojin dryly compliments him for being the great guide and starts drying himself. He tells Yeonjae that they should talk after getting changed. Yoojin says they should discuss how they should get rid of Sukwon Choi. He adds that he heard from Volleyball that previous contracts of the lizard owner will be passed to Jellyfish, so having fewer contractees would be ideal. Newbie said those guys can meddle with the world through the contractees, so they would surely have to make more if there were fewer contractees. With thoughts on the information Newbie relayed, Yoojin tells Yeonjae that they should deal with it as soon as tomorrow. Yeonjae cuts him off and says it'll take time. Yoojin questions this, and Yeonjae explains that Sukwon is already hiding. He then adds that even if they find him, they can't do much outside a dungeon. Yeonjae is sure that the MKC Guildmaster has tightened his defenses based on what Yoojin did. Ever the doting brother, Yoojin repeats what Yoojin said, that it only happened because he was left with no choice. Unwilling to back down, Yoojin says he'll still look for Sukwon Choi. This makes Yeonjae look at him and asks why Yoojin is in a rush. Yeonjae recalls how Yoojin has already been through a lot of things. Yoojin and Yirim are still at it, with Taewon rushing in to stop the two. Either they are unaware of the serious talk or are just ignoring it. Yoojin answers Yeonjae, saying he's fine, so he'll use his time to do what he must, including finding Sukwon and making his contract void. Yeonjae suddenly raises a hand and says in a loud voice that he's worried. He mentions out loud about Yoojin's debt of helping him out 3 times, saying that it'll be his loss if Yoojin overworks himself. With their sharp ears, Yoojin and Yirim stopped fighting, for they heard Yeonjae clearly. The two dashes towards them, asking about Yoojin's debt and this business of helping out the Siseon Guildmaster. Yoojin tries to worm his way out of it, but the two kids just drag him away. Yirim reminds Yoojin of his F-class status, with Yoojin agreeing with her. Whenever Big Bro is involved, these two suddenly join forces. Yeonjae waves goodbye, and Yoojin curses at Yeonjae in his head. Yoojin wonders what Yeonjae is scheming when he knows the world is about to meet its end. With Yoon-jae remaining nonchalant on this matter, Yoojin can't help but be suspicious. He recalls the other stuff Newbie said back in the dungeon. Newbie mentioned his relief on the abolished contract between Diarma and Chain. Yoojin asks who Chain is, and Newbie replies that Chain is the S-ranker from birth who has a contract that Yoojin broke. Yoojin quickly catches on that Newbie is pertaining to Yoon-jae. Yoojin asks if he's called Chain because of his skill and questions why he's called Honey. I bet our MC is called Honey cause he can lure those bears. I mean, S-ranker stam. Newbie doesn't answer but mentions his worry about Crescent Moon's absence, so it was a relief that they got help from Honey this time. Yoojin asked about Crescent Moon, and Newbie explains that Crescent Moon is one of them. He reveals that Crescent Moon helped Chain end his contract with the lizard owner. Newbie doesn't know the complete details of what happened back then since Crescent Moon is currently asleep. He adds that Chain wouldn't also know about it since he got affected by Honey's regression. Newbie suddenly comments on how Honey is now speaking informally. Still, he gets no further, for Yoojin starts squeezing Newbie's pixelized flat form. Yoojin is entirely shocked by this information as he intently looks at Newbie, thinking that it was about his comment. Newbie says Honey can call him however he wishes. Yoojin ignores this while considering how Yoon-jae was involved with both the filial piety addicts and the immoral people. And he can't help but wonder what Yoon-jae had been doing before Yoojin even regressed. Our MC's personal tour guide really has a lot of secrets. Chirpy rides the whirring robot vacuum as if he's surfing. While Yoojin lazily looks at his tablet, Peace watches over what Yoojin is doing. This was how Yoojin started his forced vacation. His little bro and Yi-reem were both fuming as they warned him to stay put until they were done with their respective responsibilities. Understanding how much those two worry about him, Yoojin can only listen to placate them. Hence, the forced vacation. Peace looked over Yoojin's shoulder as our MC worked on something on his tablet. Yoojin doesn't want to spend his time idling by since there are a lot of things that he must look up and study. On his tablet, Yoojin is busy drawing and processing the information he learned about the tree of snowfall and the bird that counts the stars, who took his little bro's body. There are also the immoral people, aka the depraved, who manage the system and are fighting against those who are like their parents. Aside from them, the depraved is also up against the filial piety addicts, who aim to hasten the end of the world. Yoojin takes note of how dangerous it is to call them by their actual names, so it would be best to call them by their nicknames. Among the depraved are Newbie and Water Droplet, who is actually the Mermaid Queen. Then there's also Tree, Deer, and Wolf. These are the guys that Yoojin met previously in pixel forms. He also adds Crescent Moon, who, according to Newbie, is currently asleep and was previously in contact with Yoon-jae, aka Chain. Below this are the filial piety addicts, the lizard owner. Real name Diarma is now dead. Then there's also Diarma's substitute, who was called Jellyfish. Diarma formed contracts with Yoon-jae and Yu-yun, but those contracts were already nullified by Yoojin. Cute drawings. Yu-yun's smiling image differs from his usual expression, but hey, let's not forget he only smiles in front of his big bro. Other contractees are Kyung-soo-yoon, who is already dead, and Sukwon Choi, who is currently missing. Yoojin looks at the diagram he made, commenting that something is bothering him. Peace taps on Yoon-jae's smiling face, and his dad asks if Peace also thinks Yoon-jae is sus. Peace only looks at him and suddenly swipes at the tablet. RIP already used of having things destroyed because of his babies. Yoojin smiles as he says he understands Peace's desire to have him rest. Yoojin slumps face down with Peace on his back as if the horned flame lion is giving him a massage. But instead of emptying his mind, Yoojin continues to mull over things. Knowing that Yoon-jae made connections to both the depraved and the filial piety addicts, he ponders where Yoon-jae stands. Considering that Yoon-jae cut ties with Diarma, he wonders if he did that to save the world. But Yoojin doesn't believe this one bit since it is OOC or out of character. It's more believable for Yoojin if Yoon-jae joined the depraved side out of boredom. Yoojin was thinking of his desire to learn more about this when the robot vacuum suddenly announced an error. It asked to have the obstacle removed. Yoojin stands up to check it out, wondering if Roomba is broken. If it is, just ask Ice Bear to fix it, and you'll get a total upgrade. Yoojin and Peace look over and see Chirpy still on top of Roomba, which is sucking Myung-woo's hair. Yoojin screams in surprise as he pulls Roomba off, thinking Myung-woo is on the floor because his friend died from overworking. The pale Myung-woo speaks up, saying that he's only low on mana. Despite his current sorry state, Myung-woo still hands Yoojin something that he just finished working on. The item is a fancy-looking blue-gemmed short sword. Yoojin says that it looks more like a decor. Myung-woo takes a mana bottle from his inventory to replenish as he explains to Yoojin that the sword is in its basic form and is indestructible. As this happens, let me point out that Peace is playing with Chirpy on the side. The sword in Yoojin's hand suddenly changes form, and the blue gem attaches itself to Yoojin's right arm. Myung-woo says it can be transformed by wearing the item. Yoojin's eyes bulged out, looking at the intricate, luxurious design of the item in his right hand and arm. The blue gem sparkles, as Myung-woo says he can't do anything about the design since it is according to her taste. Something comes out of the item, and Myung-woo explains that this is her original form, and she's called Eunhae. Oh, the family name Yu is taken from Myung-woo's. Eunhae transformed into a blue bird with a legendary class. The details indicate that it is a sword that came from Shaylo's mana stone. In the novel translations, the mana stone is called Shaylo's dragon heart with an L rank. So, if you think about it, Shaylos is both a dragon lord and a master craftsman. Yoojin discovers that he is Eunhae's contractor and is taken aback when the L rank detail finally sinks in. Yoojin is so amazed that Myung-woo made a L rank item. Remember, Myung-woo's skill, Master of the Golden Smithy, is only SS rank. Myung-woo scratches his head, admitting that he didn't expect this either. He then continues his explanation with its damage nullification effect, except this time it is not a one-time use item. It can be recharged by giving it mana stones. It's like another monster pet for Daddy Yoojin. Myung-woo says that once fully charged, the damage nullification effect can last for an hour, and it can even protect Yoojin from L-rank damages. If Yoojin wants to use it without rank restrictions, it'll only last around 10 minutes. It's too OP. Even if it is 10 minutes, even our MC thinks the same as we do. Yoojin imagines how he can fight against a dungeon boss or even the real mermaid queen and remain unscathed for 10 minutes. With it, he imagines he can even protect his precious little bro and Yirim against the mermaid queen while completely ignoring Yunjae. There's more to learn about the item, so Myung-woo says it is a growth type, and gaining extra effects is possible. This item is limited only to the contractor, and it is a necessary detail to make the item into an L rank. This further shocks Yoojin, making him stammer and jump at the fact that Eunhae is exclusively his. Yoojin suggests that Myung-woo should create another one for himself and the others. Myung-woo laughs and says that he can't do that. On the side, Peace continues to play with Chirpy by rolling him around. Myung-woo explains that it is actually impossible for him to make one, and he could only accomplish such a feat with the help of Ismuor, who has Shaylo's flames. Hearing Shaylo's name, Yoojin recalls the marbles he had received from Myung-woo before. Myung-woo confirms that they are the same and reveals that Shaylos is the name of the previous owner of the Golden Smithy. The previous owner of the forge is truly more reliable than those guys managing the system. Myung-woo explains that Shaylos left mana after their death, which he, in turn, used to make the sword. As for the marbles, those were the fragments from the sword making. Myung-woo smiles at Eunhae as he admits how he was only able to create these because of that particular ingredient and the coincidence of conditions. He adds that even if he improves in the future, he won't be able to create something as unique as Eunhae again. Myung-woo remembers the moment Eunhae was born from his and Ismuor's work. Eunhae flew around the forge while Myung-woo was slumped on the table. Ismuor carefully pets Eunhae as he tells Myung-woo how the bird looked a lot like Shaylos when she was younger. Ismuor holds the completed sword, announcing that this is the symbol of Myung-woo's potential that Yoojin helped him reach, and it is the best masterpiece that was created out of the potential. This announcement makes Myung-woo smile. Ismuor declares that this is why its name is Eunhae. It literally means kindness or favor in Korean. Back to the present, Myung-woo explains that he made it while praying for Yoojin's safety. Eunhae perches itself on Yoojin's shoulder as Yoojin looks at how precious Myung-woo's gift is. Yoojin asks why Myung-woo can't just use this precious item himself instead of giving it to him. Myung-woo shakes his head, saying he didn't make that item to hear such things from Yoojin. Myung-woo reminds Yoojin that he doesn't go into dungeons like him. If anything happens, Myung-woo can simply hide in the Golden Smithy. Unlike him, Yoojin always finds himself in a dangerous situation. Myung-woo knows full well that he can't protect Yoojin like the others do, so he wants to support him by doing this. He really wants to give Yoojin this, so he hopes that Yoojin will respond to his intention like a friend would. This mushy scene is making me tear up. After all, this is one of the fruits of our MC and Myung-woo's relationship. This makes Yoojin smile, and he cheerfully thanks Myung-woo, even saying that Myung-woo is the best. Your lil bro will be jealous if he hears that. Myung-woo accepts the compliment and shyly admits that he thinks that he did well in making this one. Yoojin fondly looks at Eunhae, who is perched on his arm. He formally greets Yeon-hae for the first time and asks if she can make the design look more simple. But instead of doing as told, Yeon-hae added more strings of luxurious gems on Yoojin and made a peeping sound as if asking if she did well. Yoojin makes a face, and Myung-woo quickly tells him that it's just Yeon-hae's preference. Yoojin instructs Yeon-hae again to make it simpler, and Yeon-hae does the same. Yoojin repeats himself. This makes me wonder if Yeon-hae also inherited Shelo's characteristics. Chirpy is done playing with Peace and chirps. Upon seeing a beautiful blue bird, the winged white ball is surprised and starts crying out loud. Yoojin takes Chirpy into his hands as it continues to cry at seeing Yeon-hae flying around. Myung-woo wonders why it is crying. Yoojin says it might probably be because Chirpy can't fly despite being a bird. Yoojin tries to calm it down, reminding Chirpy of its tiny wings. This reminds Myung-woo of something, and takes something out of his inventory. He then attaches the item to Chirpy's leg, making the white ball look at it with wonder. Myung-woo is relieved that he has something to help Chirpy float around, while Yoojin takes out his phone and repeats that Myung-woo is the best. Chirpy floats to the air leg first, confused at what is happening, with Peace trying to reach out for the winged white ball. As for Yoojin's request from Yeon-hae, it finally settled on a simple yet luxurious bracelet design. That night in the KHA headquarters, the officials are having a meeting about the dead Kyung Soo-yoon and missing Soo-kwon Choi. Most of the elders in the discussion are obviously worked up by this situation, since it means a loss for their nation. Not really. It's good that those no-gooders are out of the picture. They are clearly agitated since this correlates to loss of national power, issues in dungeon management and security, as well as public opinion. Not to mention, they also lost the detention center due to the recent incident. The chairman of KHA calms them down, knowing full well what everyone is worried about. Jin-hyuk Kwon reminds everyone is present to discuss it and offers a simple solution, which is to have new S-rankers. The others discuss this, thinking that the chairman meant to recruit from overseas, which can be costly. Another mentions how the Sejong Guild recruited Evelyn. They must be referring to the silver-haired woman Yeon-jae talked to in Chapter 77. Jin-hyuk says they don't need to recruit when they can create one by going ahead with Plan A earlier than intended. He confidently announces that Korea will soon be filled with hunters of higher classes and become acknowledged as the nation with the highest number of S-rankers. With a sword and black flames, Yoo-yeon declares that he's about to attack. He dashes straight towards his opponent without holding back. A blue sword parries his attack, surprising Yoo-yeon at how easily his attack was stopped. Yoojin grins at his brother, asking for his opinion on the strength of Yoojin's new weapon. Yoojin suddenly flies off due to the impact of the clash while yelling that Lil Bro won't have to worry about him because of his new item. Yoo-yeon deadpans that his big bro just bounced off, making Yoojin yell that he's fine. Yoojin runs back to his brother with tattered clothes while pestering Yoo-yeon again with questions like how Yoo-yeon doesn't have to worry about him anymore. Yoo-yeon reminds him that this item has its downsides, like it can't stop Yoojin from getting kidnapped, and it'll be easy to manhandle him. And the most important thing is that the bracelet can be easily stolen from his brother, as demonstrated by Yoo-yeon. Yoo-yeon points out that his brother is now defenseless without it. Yoojin groans, finally understanding Yoo-yeon's point. Yoo-yeon looks at the item, admitting that its defense is impressive. Yoo-yeon's fire elemental suddenly pops out of his right eye to jump toward the bracelet and gnaw at it. Yoojin shouts for Tanadi Eun-hae. Yoo-yeon tells his elemental to stop since the item belongs to his big bro and calls the lizard Iron. Heads up, people. We're using the translation from the novel. Iron looks up with big, adorable eyes. Though it took some time, they finally settled on a name that the fire elemental liked. Iron and Yeon-hae are hissing and peeping at one another atop Yoo-yeon. Seeing this, Yoojin calls for Yeon-hae, saying that it must have been scared of the bad lizard. The bluebird chirps back, repeating the phrase bad lizard. Yoo-yeon and Yoojin are both surprised that it can talk, but Yoojin says it might be because it is a growth type. He then asks Eun-hae to say dad, but Yeon-hae only repeats bad lizard, making them wonder if that is all it can say. Yoo-yeon then looks at Iron and tells him to try to reply. Iron looks at his contractor and only hisses back. Yoojin smiles at this cute interaction and encourages his brother that if Iron is raised well, it might also start talking. Seeing that Iron is the first elemental in their world, Yoojin is reassured that they'll receive a lot of help. The brothers head out of the training room, and Yoojin asks his brother if Yoo-yeon has already talked to the equipment management team of his guild. Yoo-yeon confirms that he did and that everyone is excited about it. Yoojin cheerfully smiles back, saying it is only natural since it is Myung-woo who's teaching. Yeah, we get it. Myung-woo is yours. While Yoojin and Myung-woo were preparing for supper the previous night, Myung-woo mentioned this idea to Yoojin. He tells Yoojin that they shouldn't be too reliant on the system descriptions. If he stuck with the description while making Eunhae at his current level, then it would be considered impossible. This made Myung-woo think that surpassing their limits set by the description windows would be possible. He adds that it is the same for skills and gives an example of starting a fire, which in turn can be used for cooking, warming up, and providing light. Myung-woo caught up quickly. The system did mention that some of the descriptions are more of a guesswork on their part. Yoojin thinks of skill expansion and recalls how he actually applied this principle when he imitated Diorama's skill using his own. He mulls over its possibility since he got the system's explanation and Diorama's previous memories. Now that Yoojin thinks about it, Myung-woo figured out all of it on his own without any external help. Yoojin can't help thinking that Myung-woo is so smart. Myung-woo continues to explain that if he applies this knowledge to equipment making, then there's the possibility that those from the equipment management team will be able to create such items using their own skills. Seriously, Myung-woo is the most generous guy in this manhwa. But of course, there are some exceptions in his list, like our MC's lil bro. The equipment management team is already equipped with item-related skills. They can also set up an item creation shop if this works. Yoojin adds that if it happens, the survival rate of hunters will increase, and there will be a technological revolution. Back to the present, Yoojin mentions how amazing their Myung-woo is and reminds his lil bro to be nice to Myung-woo so that he'll be able to get equipment from him. Yoojin bluntly replies that getting the items from his brother would be faster. Heh, that's true. Yoojin is confident that Myung-woo will be the main point of the hunter's new era. With these thoughts, Yoojin intends to find more people with specialized or unique skills. He wants to be better prepared for the future ahead of them. But this is mere wishful thinking on his part. The KHA released to the media about how the Awakening Center will soon open next month. In the advertisement, they are inviting the non-awakened to become hunters this coming summer in a safe environment created by the association. Yoojin is about to feed peace when he sees this news. The announcement continues on television, inciting the viewers to the possibility that they may become an S-ranker. If it was so easy to become an S-ranker, there should be many of them right from the start. They'd further promote this by reminding everyone of the existence of the inventory that hunters have. The broadcast ended, reminding the viewers to sign up for the pre-registration. Yoojin pales at this announcement, still not letting go of Peace's bowl and the canister of mana stones meant for Chirpy. He suddenly yells in surprise at the early opening of the Awakening Center. After seeing that ad, Yoojin headed out to meet KHA's chairman. The chairman reaches out a hand as he welcomes Yoojin and Shimyeong. They shake hands as Shimyeong mentions how it was unexpected that the Awakening Center interests him. The Awakening Center exists to provide a safe awakening for regular civilians, and based on Yoojin's previous life, it was supposed to open 6 months later. The chairman leads them to a room where they are testing the system. A person in a lab coat holds up something akin to a Rubik's Cube, explaining the simple principle. They use an illusionary maze, a psychological item that allows the non-awakened to experience a realistic illusion. This one-shade design reminds me of Kanede's equipment from Bofuri. Once it is activated, the environment around the test subject changes into a realistic forest. It is so realistic to the point that the test subject even thinks that he is in a forest. Stillman suddenly yells at him to get out of the place since there is an item error, and he must end the test immediately. This obviously surprises the test subject. The yelling man even says that an actual dungeon appeared, and the man was suddenly bitten by a monster from behind, making him scream in pain. The test subject is so stunned that he is unable to move. The monster looms before him. The test subject stammers, trying to deny that what's before him is reality. More monsters appear, and the test subject can only scream in fear. From the viewing booth, the one who did the explanations coldly looks over. At the same time, Yoojin and Shimyeong's faces were dark from what they just witnessed. The test subject continues to scream for it to stop. In a short while, the illusionary maze returns to its original state. The test run is announced to be a success. The woman further explains that the illusion of being attacked by monsters is how they safely awaken the people. The test subject trembles and cries as he is assisted by his staff. Yeah, their definition of safe awakening is twisted. Shimyeong looks at this scene, questioning if it is truly a safe awakening. The chairman cheerfully replies that it won't harm the mind as long as the illusion doesn't exceed 30 minutes. The experts say it is limited to that time for each person, and the device can even be used on 30 people simultaneously. She explains the plan to have 1,000 people tested on the first day, and from there, it will be slowly increased to 3,000 per day. Yoojin uses Promising Sprout on the test subject and finds that Jumyoung's song awakened into an F class. He is classified to awaken around D class and has failed to obtain the D rank music-related skills. Ouch! That guy might have been a good music producer in the future if he hadn't undergone that test. Yoojin sees that the biggest issue of the Awakening Center is that it caters to those who are specialized for combat. They corner people into similar dangerous situations that lack consideration for the people's potential. In this case, people would awaken with combat-related skills to survive. This type of forced awakening with no regard for individuality is comparable to putting a singer or a philosopher into a boxing ring. This kind of mentality will not help Yoojin, who's looking for people similar to Myung-woo, and it will simply let people's talent rot. Pissed at this, Yoojin doesn't hesitate to talk back about how they're planning to do this kind of crap to people. He frankly asks the chairman if they even consider the consequences of this project. Yoojin is well aware that this isn't the only issue since he knows of the future that this project brought to everyone. For he, himself, was in the middle of it all. Let's start a new chapter with a flashback from Big Bro's previous life. This happened a month after the opening of Awakening Center. Some hunters lay dead on the floor, with others shouting instructions on fighting back against the monsters. One hunter calls out at the newbie who wasn't doing anything and reminds him to get his act together. The hunter repeats herself. For the person she just yelled at does nothing but stare at the monster before them. This trembling newbie is none other than our MC, Yoojin Han. With just a single month, everything is already in chaos. There was a queue at the Awakening Center, and unlike what the association promised, their capacity was quickly raised to 3,000 awakenings in just 2 days. They didn't hold back and even held awakenings on holidays. Among those who awakened, only 1% were able to awaken above E rank. This sudden rise of hunters has resulted into something else. Back to the present, Yoojin is saying that there will be an issue with the lack of equipment and items for the sudden increase of hunters. He points out that this is worse for those in the lower ranks. Yoojin questions if the association even considered that and adds that there might be people who will just rush in to enter a dungeon with a lack of proper equipment, or worse, nothing. Kim Young is handing them drinks, while the chairman smiles as he claims that this kind of issue won't arise. Yoojin is frustrated with this reply since he has already experienced it for himself in his past life. We should really just have the chairman removed from the picture. Shimyang tries to calm Yoojin by reminding him of the 1 week required new hunter training. Yoojin can only think that even this was changed into 1 day, and it is to the point where Yoojin didn't even get one in his previous life. Thinking that this matter is easy to resolve, the chairman mentions that they can enforce safety guidelines requiring hunters to have essential equipment. Yoojin is skeptical of this answer since it doesn't resolve or even contribute to the issue of equipment shortage. The chairman claims the association won't be responsible for hunters who don't follow the regulations. With this hand-washing remark, Yoojin shouts at the chairman that responsibility is not the issue. He doesn't hesitate to speak out his thoughts on how the opening date should be pushed back until the equipment supply issue is addressed or the number of people to be awakened is limited. The chairman remains relaxed despite Yoojin's complaints and simply says okay. This response got Yoojin a bit taken aback, but the chairman followed up with something ridiculous. The old man smiles cheekily, claiming that Yoojin is scared to lose his job if the number of hunters increases. Dude, you need a beating. Seriously, not quite yet done. The chairman even has the gall to tell our MC to not be greedy. Nerves pop out in Yoojin's face, clearly irritated at the man before him. The chairman also claims that Yoojin wouldn't understand due to his recent awakening, and mentions how this decision was made with professionals. I'm questioning the reliability of these so-called professionals. Yoojin trembles with frustration, thinking how he experienced that kind of hell for 5 long years. As for the chairman, he remains unfazed and bids the two farewell. Shimyang gets close to Yoojin and whispers in his ear that politics was involved in this. He explains that the media's anxiety made the chairman shift the attention this way. Shimyang adds that if the number of people who get awakened is limited, the public's approval rating will decrease. Yoojin leers, saying that approval rating should not be the main issue. Shimyang informs Yoojin that some hunters are already aware of the use of illusionary maze. Once the media gets a whiff of how this item can be used, then the fact about the capacity can't be hidden anymore. It is possible that others will aim to get their hands on such an item to open their own awakening centers. Shimyang observes the difficulty of this problem and says that the future must be considered. If they look at the current increase in dungeon quantity and difficulty, it is imperative to increase the number of high-ranking hunters. If this produces low-rankers in the process, then they really can't do anything about it. Shimyang is sure that some chaos will unfold in the beginning, but at the same time, is also convinced that it will soon stabilize right after. That's wishful thinking. Shimyang, if only you knew that our MC is a regressor, you'd truly heed his advice. Yoojin says that this only applies to the advanced guilds. He mulls over how it was phrased as some chaos, feeling dejected when he frankly spoke from his experience. This makes Yoojin remember his previous life. Another flashback. A hunter notification board keeps a tally of the dungeon accident report for the day on the wall. On one particular day, there were 51 deaths, 125 injured, and 68 missing. It made Yoojin think that daily life was a war as he stood before one. Half of the low rankers, mostly the lowest, have run away, while the other half are either dead or crippled by their injuries. Yoojin can only watch the relatives of the deceased cry their hearts out. It also became common for those who are living to blame him. They question the fact that Yoojin is the only one remaining among the living or not even crippled. Some can't help but think that Yoojin is receiving help from his big-shot brother. Suffering from wounds from both the dungeon and the living, Yoojin denies these claims. He tries to explain how some guys gave him equipment that put him in debt. Instead of listening, the other punched Yoojin, claiming that those guys approached Yoojin since he's the brother of Yoojin Han. Whenever Yoojin survives a dungeon, people won't hesitate to accuse him and his brother of various things. There was even gossip about how Yoojin received preferential treatment, committed fraud, and other hateful rumors. In one thread, some people speculated about the fact that Yoojin dropped out of school after their parents' death, and these people didn't hesitate to discuss the matter under anonymity. These busybodies have nothing better to do in their lives. Aside from Yoojin being the point of interest, Yoojin and his guild were also targeted. People called him repulsive names, which made Yoojin decide to keep to himself. But there were also times that people would gang up on him to the point that he got blood on his own hands. Someone calls his name, snapping Yoojin back to the present. Shimyang asks if he's okay, for he looks anxious. Shimyang reminds him that even if those things he mentioned before do happen, Yoojin will not experience any of its downsides. Yoojin took a long pause to answer but was unable to say anything substantial, for the chairman was back. I thought he's gone already. The chairman waves at them and apologizes. He then introduces the man beside him as the association's advertisement team and starts discussing a TV show. Shimyang sweats, reminding the chairman that they've already rejected this before. The chairman says that he really wants to ask Yoojin once more. Yoojin looks at the man that the chairman introduced, and his eyes widen in surprise. Shimyang sees Yoojin's reaction and calls for him. But Yoojin is still surprised, and now he's cursing in his mind. He knows this person and is sure that Yoojin can't forget this man. And another flashback from our MC's previous life. Yoojin lays on the ground with his hands tied behind him. Those who gang up on him are surprised by Yoojin's stubbornness and start planning where they should begin to break since a potion can easily heal it. One man tells Yoojin to just cooperate with him since he is Yoojin's brother. A man with a side part hairstyle grins behind the others as he looks at the scene. Back to the present, Yoojin is sure that this was the guy who kidnapped him in his previous life, and that incident will happen a year from now. Yoojin looks at the man's smiling face, remembering that this guy got Yoojin's hands dirty. Just wow, someone like that works for the association. Makes me question what kind of other corrupt people are in KHA. The man from the association's advertisement team introduces himself as Dongwon Lee and hands his business card to Yoojin. Our MC receives it with a frown as he tries to calm himself down by reminding himself that he is in a different time. Still, this doesn't stop him from questioning why this man is there before him and worse, employed by the association. Dongwon smiles as he tells Yoojin his hope to have him come to the show since Yoojin's concern for low rankers makes him a good candidate for their program. The program aims to give light to those who are neglected by society, so they want to cast low rankers or even the unawakened. And our MC happens to be one of the most famous low rankers. Upon hearing this, Yoojin crumples the business card in his hand a bit, feeling skeptical. Dongwon continues to smile, saying that Yoojin's F-class status and having peace in the program will also liven up the other guests. The chairman speaks up, telling them to just accept it since the views will surely increase, and they'll also be able to advertise the Awakening Center. Shimyang covers Yoojin, telling the chairman not to push Yoojin since he's on vacation, and there's still the issue they discussed about the Awakening Center. Yoojin suddenly speaks up, agreeing to the appearance. This surprises Shimyang, but Yoojin only smiles, saying appearing once is no problem. Shimyang is startled by this shift and is about to go crazy about how he'll explain it to his boss. At the same time, the chairman and Dongwon celebrate the outcome of this talk. Dongwon puts his hand out for a shake, glad that he'll be able to work with Yoojin. Or so he claims. Who knows, he might already be planning to kidnap our MC. Yoojin is more level-headed now as he thinks about it and shakes Dongwon's hand. What he is so sure of now is that the Hunters Association of their country is more corrupt than he expected. We're starting another chapter with our MC's flashback from his previous life. The Go-Sun is a D-rank dungeon raid team, and their team is currently walking inside a dungeon. Yoojin offers to hold the others' equipment for them since he is thankful for letting him join their raiding team. Yoojin was confident of his safety since Go-Sun is well known for carrying low rankers who aren't part of their team. The team comprises 2 C rankers and 5 D rankers and maintains a good image. Due to this, no one was really aware of their side business. Oh, even our devious MC was once naive. One of the members tells Yoojin that he shouldn't really be thankful to them. Yoojin suddenly receives a punch in the gut from one of the other members. The guy who punched him reminds him not to be loud or else a monster will come, and they won't protect him from it. Covering Yoojin's mouth, the man commands Yoojin to take everything out of his inventory. Knowing that Yoojin is the older brother of Yuyan Han, they're sure that Yoojin has an item like a gate stone or something else that assures his survival within a dungeon. Yoojin finally understands the situation he is in as he looks up at these people with dread and anger in his eyes. The man who punched him points out that there's no way that they would carry an F ranker out of kindness. Yoojin can finally see with his own eyes that Go-Sun's side business is to go after low rankers and the unawakened, who are worth something. Going back to the present, Dongwon claps his hands on the side. Yoojin is surprised that fate brought him someone from the Go-Sun team. On top of that, the guy is part of KHA. Yoojin is currently in a studio along with Peace, Chirpy, and another guest. The host introduces Yoojin and Peace to everyone, and Peace is tasked to perform ball throwing with Chirpy. Peace then uses Chirpy as a wall. On the side, Yoojin starts to wonder if he really must do this kind of thing since he has already gotten his revenge before. That's from your previous life. I bet that those Go-Sun guys are still the same. Yoojin then recalls Shimium's words about how he won't lose anything, so there's no need for him to worry. As he thinks of this, Yoojin is sure that he doesn't have to get involved with those guys in this lifetime. Aside from this, the Awakening Center's opening isn't really connected to him in any way. As Yoojin mulls over these things, Peace makes a shot using Chirpy with a serious look on his face. Chirpy is about to fall without getting in the hoop, making the white bird seriously chirp. Using the gift it got from Young Woo, Chirpy floats into the air in style. The host was surprised by this, and Chirpy easily made it into the hoop. The 2 magical beasts of Yoojin share a moment of victory, and the host describes the moment as a miracle that defies gravity. Still not focusing on the incredible scene happening before him, Yoojin can't shake this matter entirely off. He finds it hard to turn a blind eye to this matter. Unlike Yoojin, the other guest is super ecstatic about what he just witnessed. The other guest is screaming in glee and even stands up to share a high five with Peace. At least the other guy is living up the show, but I think he shouldn't get close to Peace so suddenly. The guest literally leaps to where Peace and Chirpy are, and it is already too late for Yoojin to stop the other from suddenly approaching. Peace then jumps himself to give the guest his so-desired high five, a high five of death, that is. The guest screamed in pain, and the recording was immediately stopped due to this incident. After some time, Yoojin carries Peace in his arms while apologizing for what happened. He then asks Hayul Park, the injured guest, if he is okay. Hayul smiles brightly, saying that he's okay since he's completely healed by the potion. He adds that this incident will be edited out. Yoojin bows deeply to apologize again, knowing full well that Hayul's face is the most important part of his job. Hayul reassures Yoojin that it's fine since he's the reason Peace got scared. I doubt that he's scared. Yoojin's eyes changed, seeing that Hayul is such a good person. Hayul speaks sweetly as he admits that he considers Peace's scratch as a reward, and if he wasn't a celebrity, he would have kept that scar as a treasure. Hayul then reveals his dream to become a hunter. If he can, he would even want to enter the Heian Guild and become a feet cleaner. Yoojin questions this while thinking he met a good person who's also a weirdo. He's more like a naive weirdo, big bro. Considering that Hayul wants to be a hunter, Yoojin uses Promising Sprout on the celebrity and finds that his possible class is B with 3 A-class skills that seem to be related to Hayul's appearance. Seeing this, Yoojin is sure that Hayul will never be able to unlock these skills if he goes to the Awakening Center. Yoojin feels sorry that he can't use his keyword nonchalantly on the celebrity, but he gives it a shot nonetheless. Unfortunately, Yoojin ultimately can't do it because of the other people around them and simply asks Hayul a question, which Hayul answers. Where did your quick-wittedness go, big bro? You could easily claim you love him because he's a celebrity. Be his fanboy. Yoojin is almost blinded by Hayul's beauty, and people are even talking about it. Although he just debuted, Ha-yul has already managed to take the leading role in a movie. He looks prettier than Noah. Is he another male wife candidate? Considering the attention Ha-yul is already getting from others, Yoojin thinks Ha-yul doesn't need his skills. With a face like Ha-yul's, Yoojin feels confident that he can leave him alone. MC, not the squid. Please leave that description for Kim Do-cha. Yoojin tries to recall his previous life, realizing that he had never seen Ha-yul anywhere when he should have been famous. A man approaches, asking Ha-yul if his injury is okay. He apologizes to Ha-yul since he's the one who brought him there. Ha-yul greets Dong-won with affection and says it's fine since he met peace. Hearing Ha-yul call the other man young, Yoojin asks about their relationship. Ha-yul admits that they met for the first time on that day. Dong-won explains that they plan to work with Ha-yul more in the future and intend to support the celebrity. Yoojin felt skeptical in hearing about this since he knows Dong-won is the type who only considers others as a source of money. With Ha-yul dreaming of becoming a hunter, Dong-won can easily use this to manipulate Ha-yul. Yoojin doesn't erase the possibility that Ha-yul might even become a sacrifice for the Go-sun team. If this is the reason why Ha-yul didn't become famous in his previous life, then there is only one thing Yoojin can do. Yoojin sits down beside Ha-yul and mentions a Peace plushie made out of Peace's hair. He explains that it is at home and offers the plushie to Ha-yul. The celebrity was surprised by the precious offer. Yoojin smiles at Ha-yul, saying he is happy to meet someone like him who immensely likes Peace. He then asks for Ha-yul's number so that he can contact him about it. Yoojin hands his phone while thinking this could be his chance to approach those Go-sun guys. As night came, that chance Yoojin was hoping for appeared quickly. Yoojin found the Peace plushie that was poorly made by Yirim. Yoojin remembers how focused Yirim was in making it back then and questions if the plushie is really Peace. Now that he has a reason to contact Ha-yul, Yoojin also wants to know if Dong-won is approaching Ha-yul. He quickly sent an image of the sorry excuse of a Peace plushie and a message to Ha-yul. The other replies immediately, saying that it is so cute. For a pretty boy, your sense of cuteness is way off. Ha-yul then sends another message, saying his thanks for the awakening and the plushie. Yoojin is confused and asks Ha-yul about the awakening. Ha-yul quickly replies, saying that Dong-won approached him since Yoojin asked. He explains how Dong-won said he could enter a dungeon because of Yoojin pulling strings. Yoojin sent Ha-yul a message that he never said something like that, which similarly confused Ha-yul. Yoojin realizes what this truly is about and asks for Ha-yul's location. But instead of doing so, Ha-yul says he must turn off his phone now. Oh, this is similar to what happened with Myung-woo before, except Yoojin came with Myung-woo. Yoojin calls Ha-yul, but the phone is already turned off. Yoojin sweats as he curses at those Go-sun guys who even used his name to take Ha-yul. In another part of the city, Ha-yul is in a vehicle and is surprised that his phone was taken from him and turned off. The man holding his phone tells him to conserve his battery since no one really knows when he'll be out once he's inside a dungeon. Dong-won hands Ha-yul's phone to another guy, explaining that there's no service inside the dungeon, so everyone will leave their phones anyway. Ha-yul looks at Dong-won and asks if it will take long and if he can't really call his manager about it. Dong-won says that Ha-yul's manager will stop him if he learns of it. As the van they're in stops, Dong-won weaves this story where Ha-yul's manager thinks that Ha-yul is giving up his status as a celebrity to become a hunter. As they leave the van, Dong-won reassures Ha-yul that he won't bring him anywhere dangerous since he is an association employee. They enter a warehouse where a gate is open, and some people are waiting. Dong-won tells him to enter the dungeon, leave it as an awaken, and become the hunter he's been dreaming of. Ha-yul's face brightens up at the sight of the gate. He then turns to look at Dong-won, telling the other that he trusts him. No, why are you so naive? You should confirm things first with Yoojin. Yoojin continues to try to call, but he can't get connected. With this being the case, Yoojin concludes that Ha-yul is already in the dungeon, and he must get there fast before it closes. He ponders if he should call the authorities about this, but Ha-yul is a celebrity, and things might only get messed up. Yoojin thinks that if the KHA is involved, then nothing can be done. He tries to think of another way to get to Ha-yul without going through the cops. Yoojin enters a number on his phone, hoping that that person's number is still the same. He thinks about how this is one of his bad acquaintances before regressing. Considering the current timeline, Yoojin believes that that person is probably running an ordinary detective agency. That person answers Eugene call. It is a man wearing eyeglasses who's holding a hamster. The person tells Eugene that he's connected to the hamster agency and asks what he could help him with. Eugene knows that this person is called Ha Min-do. Ha-min is an information dealer who does a great job looking for people. Yoojin talks back, saying that he is looking for someone. Yoojin intends to make use of his bad acquaintance to settle things with another bad acquaintance from his previous life. That's an ingenious strategy to get rid of the bad guys. Ha-min feeds his hamster as he repeats the instructions to look for Ha-yul Park. He asks if there are any remarkable traits and asks for the number of Ha-yul. While holding a stylus pen, Ha-min activates his skill-connected strings, which can calculate the target's location based on the serial number of an object that the target owns. Yoojin recalls how Ha-min became an informant for hunters, and Yoojin found it a pain to be involved with such a guy. The stylus pen Ha-min holds gives off energy, and when used, the pen drops to a big screen of a map. Ha-min says he already located the target and instructs the caller to send the money through the link before he sends over the location. Ha-min reminds the caller that 10% fee will be added if he's using a card. Yoojin doesn't want to pay up, but he has no choice since Ha-yul's life is on the line. Yoojin returns the phone to his ear, complimenting the informant for his skill. He then tells him that they'll soon meet as he says Ha-min's full name. Ha-min is so shocked that his identity is revealed and asks who the caller is and how he knows him. Yoojin doesn't reply and instead ends the call. Heh, that'll make him think twice before doing something bad. He puts on a cap and determines how he can get to the place provided by Ha-min. Yoojin then activates his A-rank skill, Hidden Objects. For those who forgot, it's the skill he got along with +1. The skill makes Yoojin hard to find even if others concentrate. This stealth skill he got from soloing a dungeon is now valuable since he wants to resolve this matter quickly without making a fuss. At that moment, inside the dungeon, the Gosum guys are fighting against monsters while Ha-yul crouches, screaming in fear. Ha-yul then attaches himself to the back of one of the hunters, saying how scary it is. Fed up with the burden, the hunter kicks Ha-yul away from him and commands him to stay still instead of aggravating the monsters. The hunters ask if Ha-yul is an attention seeker even in a dungeon, since he is a celebrity. Dongwon comes in between them, telling the hunter to stop being mean to Ha-yul, since he's only an unawakened. And the way he's acting is scaring the celebrity. Ha-yul looks up at Dongwon, saying he's fine and that he should learn this kind of thing before going through awakening. The hunter mockingly compliments Ha-yul, while Dongwon pats Ha-yul on the head, commenting on his naivety. He asks how Ha-yul will survive in society, for he would easily get scammed even if it's not them. Ha-yul gets confused by Dongwon's remark. A hunter looks at his watch, announcing that it is already time. Dongwon asks if they should get started. This only confuses Ha-yul further and was about to ask about it. Before he could do so, Dongwon clutches him by his clothes and announces that the gate is closing. He then punches Ha-yul in the face without holding back. This scene unfolding right now is Go-sun's modus operandi. It would lure the target to a dungeon and wait for the gate to close. Ha-yul rolls on the ground due to the punch. One of the hunters reminds the others to keep watch against monsters. The hunter asks Ha-yul what he plans to do now that he can't escape. Ha-yul looks up at them while trembling. He asks why they are doing this and if he did anything wrong. Ha-yul, this is not the time to be an airhead. Get it together, dude. A hunter answers Ha-yul's question, assuring him he did nothing wrong. He adds that Ha-yul simply has terrible luck. This C-ranker is the leader of the Go-sun team, Yoojin Kim. He puts a hand on Ha-yul's face, saying that Ha-yul happens to be the easiest among the wealthy targets in the register list for the Awakening Center. So that's what they use to pick their targets. Yoojin then activates his brainwashing skill, Puppet Strings, on Ha-yul. He tells Ha-yul not to be upset since they will also go after other guys. Yoojin says it's Ha-yul's fault that he easily trusts others. The skill starts to affect Ha-yul, who can only agree to whatever Yoojin says. Yoojin comments on Ha-yul's good looks, making sure that the skill is affecting the other heavily. He mentions the ridiculousness of Ha-yul's dream, saying that Ha-yul should just be grateful for what he already has. Ha-yul apologizes for it. Yoojin then tells him to stay on the path of being a celebrity, making Ha-yul agree with him. Yoojin keeps a good hold on Ha-yul's face, advising him to take all job offers and give them 90% of his profits. Why can't they just use their abilities to make an honest living instead of doing this kind of crap? Tears suddenly flow from Ha-yul's eyes, and he starts crying about how he still wants to become a hunter, seeing that Ha-yul is resisting the effects of his skill. Yoojin hits him with his knee and continues to beat him up. The other hunters are also surprised that Ha-yul can still resist. It makes Dongwon wonder if it is true that celebrities have sturdy mentality. Another hunter tells him to just write up a contract, but Dongwon says that method leaves evidence. Yoojin's method is obviously their best option. Dongwon tells their leader to stop hitting the face since potions might not be enough to heal his injuries. Hyo groans in pain while Yoojin shouts that he actually went easy on the other guy. Yoojin rubs his head as he mentions that his skill works best on those who are mentally unstable and asks if he should keep going. It makes the Ghost Sun leader wonder how long Hyo will hold on. The other members start betting on this when somebody says that their discrimination is becoming so apparent. Everybody was suddenly surprised that someone else spoke. A man suddenly appears before them, saying how they bet 5 hours on him previously. Yoojin removes his jacket hood and cancels his skill, Hidden Objects. Woo! Now we know that Hyo will surely live. Yoojin's appearance inside the dungeon surprises everyone. The other hunters are asking if Dongwon brought that guy in, making Dongwon reply that he has no desire to get killed by that guy's brother. Yoojin walks toward Hyo, while some hunters are starting to wonder if the Heian Guild really wasn't there with him. Yoojin crouches before Hyo, asking if he's okay and if nothing is broken. Hyo replies that he's okay and asks if the Heian Guild is there to save him. Yoojin answers Hyo's question honestly, saying he didn't bring anyone else. Not that he really needs anyone. He did slay these good-for-nothings in his previous life on his own. What more now that he has better skills and equipment? Yoojin's answer only makes Hyo panic and sweat, and he rephrases his question, asking if Yoojin is there on his own. Yoojin doesn't directly answer Hyo's question. Instead, he says he's being considerate since he thought Hyo wouldn't want any witnesses. A Ghost Sun member suddenly bashes Yoojin on the back, making him headbutt against Hyo. Hyo gains a bump on his head while Yoojin complains. The baseball bat used on him has an indent for hitting him, making the batter question if Yoojin is truly an F-ranker. Dongwon screams that he's sure since he even checked Yoojin's files. Yoojin yells that Yoojin might have some sort of defense item. He adds that Yoojin is on his own since if he had someone with him, then that person would have already appeared. I must admit, this Yoojin has a good head on his shoulders. Everyone from Gongsun then points their weapons at Yoojin, who is still crouching on the floor by Hyo. Yoojin smiles at them, saying that he went there to check if their method is still the same, and to no surprise, it is. Yoojin says they've met before, though they wouldn't believe him. The Ghost Sun guys were obviously confused by Yoojin's words since the closest proximity that most had was seeing him on the TV. Yoojin says he hoped to forget about them as he removes the red earring that Yunjae gave him before mentioning how the Ghost Sun guys are still wrecking others' lives. He places the item on Hyo to serve as the other's defense as Yoojin continues to mention the team's other transgressions, like smuggling private info from the association with the help of Dongwon. Yoojin claims he can't ignore this and suggests they should just confess. A Ghost Sun guy curses and lunges at Yoojin from behind while yelling at Yoojin to double the money for them. He got Yoojin in a headlock and is so confident that he got him good. He spouts more stuff about Yoojin having C-rank equipment and tells the others to take those from Yoojin. Hearing this, the others excitedly run to where they are. The one holding Yoojin says that equipment provided by the Heian Guild costs a lot. Seriously, Big Bro's equipment isn't only from his lil bro. Don't they watch the news? Haven't they seen Myung-woo make that announcement from before? The other hunter says that they should start with a defense item. But before he could even finish his sentence, fire blasts into his face, throwing him back. Everyone is surprised by the fire, making the others wonder if Yoojin is hiding any weapons. They quickly change their minds when a horned flame lion appears before their target. Yoojin canceled sharing the skill Hidden Objects. He then reminds them that even though he didn't bring anyone else with him, it doesn't mean he went there alone. Heh. Surprise, boneheads.